Hey everybody, this is Courtney Hawkins and I am an independent senior executive director, and I've had a lot of emails and questions about my VIP event, and so I thought it would be easier for me to just talk to everybody instead of trying to type a million different people. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you about my VIP event, and hopefully this will clarify any questions that you guys have. Okay, so let me just start by saying that this is what I have chosen to do for my personal business to celebrate my customers and hostesses. And I want you guys to do something that feels comfortable and right for you and your business, because we all have different goals. We all have our own brand. And so I really want to encourage you guys to do something that works for you. So if you are doing something that's working for you, keep doing it. And if there are bits and pieces of what I share that you guys want to implement in your business, that is fantastic. But I don't want you to feel like you have to do exactly what I do. So I want you guys to take the information and make it your own. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys why I do a VIP event, and then I'll give you the details of the VIP event. So you might want to grab a pen and a piece of paper because there's a lot of stuff. Okay, so I decided to first host a VIP event last year in September because my personal business was not what it needed to be or where it needed to be, and I was lacking bookings, and I really felt like one of the things that I needed to work on was improving my relationship and also the follow-through that I have with my current customer base. And so as we continue to grow as a field, I really believe that we have a huge number of women to not only share the opportunity with, but to party with and to introduce to our products. And so I feel like there are a ton of customers, a ton of hostesses. I do not believe in stealing anybody else's customers or hostesses. If they have a relationship with somebody else, I'm happy with that. But what I really felt like I could do for myself was to really strengthen the relationships that I already had with my current customer base and hostess base. And so what I want to do is make sure that the relationship that I have with them is authentic and that they are going to continue to come back to me time and time again. And so I wanted to make sure that I was going to have those repeat customers and that I was going to have those repeat hostesses. And so I'm big on loyalty. And so this is why I chose to host my first VIP event. It was to get some more bookings and also to increase and strengthen that relationship with my customers and hostesses. So I decided to host my first VIP event a year ago in September, and this idea did not come just from me. I actually have to give a huge amount of credit to Julie Tim and Lindsay Hale, because they really talked through all of this with me, and they had done a different kind of VIP event. And so of course, you want to do what works for you. So I took some ideas that they shared with me and I came up with my own plan for a VIP event. So basically the goal of the VIP event is to make my customers and my hostesses feel super celebrated, super encouraged, and super rewarded. And the benefit is that then not only are our relationships strengthened, but I am booking parties and I'm also getting new customers and new hostesses from the event. So I'm going to go ahead and explain to you the different VIP events, because they're not exactly the same, but the principles are the same, and then you guys can go ahead and pick and choose what you want to do for your own personal business. Okay, so last year's event, I invited my top 5 hostesses and my top 5 customers from the previous sales year. And so you can choose to do it by sales year, by calendar year, whatever you want to do, catalog season. I, at that time, did 5 because I had not had a ton of awesome parties the year before, so I really didn't have a ton to pull from. So for me, I pulled top 5 customers and top 5 hostesses. I held my event last year at a museum that didn't charge me as long as I allowed them to show my customers and guests around the museum. Which I was totally happy with, and it had a little kitchen to the side, and so we sent out a save the date card to those top customers and top hostesses, and the save the date card basically just said, I am super excited to celebrate you. This is an event to honor you. You're invited, please attend, and then I wrote on there that the day, the time, the place, and that all they needed to do was to show up and be prepared to be celebrated. And so I sent that save the date card out, and then when I sent out the invitation, I let them know that they were, of course, one of the top 5 to be honored in that category, and that because it was a celebration of them, that they could each bring 1 guest with them. So potentially it was going to be 10, 5 hostesses, 5 customers, and then each bringing a guest, so 20 people total at the event. So 10 VIPs and 10 of their friends coming as their guests to watch them be celebrated. And of course, my hope from a business standpoint was those 10 that were coming as a guest were going to potentially be new hostesses or new customers. Okay, so I sent out that invitation, and I was very fortunate that last year I did have everybody participate, and they did all come to the event last year. So I was very excited. Not everybody brought a guest, but there was probably 17 girls that came to my VIP event last year. And so my VIP event is very fast. Most of the planning and preparation is what's most time consuming. The actual event is quick. It's in and out because I know how busy these women are, and so I want to respect their time. So when they came to the event, they came and they checked in, and there was a sign-in sheet where they verify all their information, their email address, their phone number, their address, and then, of course, they sign in their guest and their guest information. I'm able to capture that, ask them if they want to be added to my customer newsletter if they don't already have a consultant, and then also ask if they want to be added to my customer Facebook group, which is a closed group, if they don't already have a consultant that they're working with. And then I last year gave them each a colored rosette. So the hostesses had one colored rosette, the customers had one color rosette, and the guests had a different color rosette. So then what I did was we had some little appetizers that we passed around. They had cocktails that they had. This is probably the first 15 or 20 minutes where I just spent time talking to everybody. We did take some pictures for fun. We had a cute little backdrop, and so we were able to take their picture with them and their friends, and that kind of gave them something to do. There was music playing in the background. And then what I did after that was I went ahead and I stood up and brought up all of my top customers and said their name. I gave them each a little sash that had their name on it. It was on ribbon. And then a little princess crown, gave them each a rose, told them how special they were to me, and then I gave them product. So, of course, this is something that you need to do based on your budget. So I always use the outlet sale, and I use a customer special to decide what I'm going to get for my guests for my VIP event. So you need to decide what's going to be best for you. Okay, so you can get whatever you want. It can be one little thing. It can be products from your kit that are retiring that you decide that you want to go ahead and give. Everybody can get something different. Anything that you want. It needs to feel right to you, and it needs to fit your budget. So for me, I decided what I wanted to give to my guests last year, so I gave all the customers something. They introduced their guests that they brought with them, and then I gave their guests a little gift for attending. And then I brought the hostesses up, introduced them, gave them a sash, a crown, a rose, thanked them all, gave them each some product. They introduced their guests, gave their guests a little something for coming. So everybody's feeling super celebrated. Then I called up my top customer from that sales year and my top hostess from that sales year. They got something extra. They got a whole dozen roses. They were super excited. So now everybody's taking pictures and having a great old time, and it was super, super fun. We took a little break, had some dessert, and then came back. And at that point, then I introduced two different things. The first thing that I did was I gave everybody a VIP card who was one of my VIPs. So those 10, the 5 customers and the 5 hostesses, they received a VIP card that basically gives them free shipping if they order something from me by December. Some silly little things on the back, but it just makes them feel super special and important. And so I gave them their little VIP card on a little silver platter, and they loved that. And then I gave their friends a little card that said Friends with Benefits, and their friends also received like 25% off in order that they placed by that December. And so I, of course, had those on a little silver platter, gave them those. And then this was the part that was really, really great. I, at that point, really, of course, needed booking. So everybody's feeling super celebrated. I'm feeling like they're so super excited that they're there, but I wanted to make sure that I had those bookings. And so this is very strategic that I did last year. I brought out the hostess exclusives for that coming catalog season, and I shared those. And of course, they were screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering because they thought they were all getting them for free, which they were not. But I showed them and I said, oh my gosh, whether you know or not, these are our new hostess exclusives, and you guys know that the only way to get these is by booking a party. So not only will you be rewarded for having a party with all the amazing hostess benefits that you're going to get, but also you, if you book a party tonight, are for either October, November, December, or January, you are guaranteed a spot at next year's VIP event. So that sealed the deal, because at this point, those women were so excited and so happy to be at that event with me that night that they were ready to book. And so I had big giant calendar pages from like a desk calendar that you can get those big paper calendar and sticky notes set up on a back table, and then they were able to put their name and their phone number, their email address on a sticky note and put it on the calendar on the date that they wanted to host their party for October, November, December, or January. And so as long as they held their party, they were guaranteed a spot at this year's VIP event. Okay, so it's important that I'm sharing last year's with you so you guys kind of understand how I did this year's. So those hostesses, fabulous women, they all did book and hold their parties last year. So it was really, really great. So my fall last year was phenomenal. I had the highest personal volume I have ever had. And I did build some very true, authentic relationships with these women. It was fantastic. So after that, when they were booking their parties, it was so fun. I sent them all a thank you note, of course, afterwards, thanking them for participating in the VIP event. And I had on the front of each person's thank you card for attending, I had a picture of them from the VIP event. And so they loved that. So whether it was a picture of them and their friend that they brought, or them and our group, or them and me, or whatever it was, they loved having that as well. So that was just a super fun way for me to thank them again. And of course, before they left the VIP event, I did give them a little goodie bag that had a new fall catalog in it. So they had that full fall catalog and of course my business card, and then thanked them for coming. That entire event was only 2 hours from start to finish. I mean, literally, like, I was out the door, packed up and gone. So I didn't do any selling that night. I didn't do any recruiting that night. It was purely celebrating and rewarding and getting those parties on the calendar. And then, of course, I was just praying and hopeful that all those parties were going to stick, and they did. It was awesome. So that was really, really great. And then what ended up happening as a byproduct, that at those parties that I had booked at that VIP event, it was really fantastic because at that person's party, they would always talk about the VIP event. It was so fun because so many of the hostesses and customers and people who had booked parties, when I would go to their house, they would have that little thank you card that I had sent them with a picture either on their counter or on their refrigerator. And I just thought, oh my gosh, we love to be celebrated and encouraged and rewarded and recognized at 31. We all love that. And so do these women. And a lot of them don't get that anywhere from their regular job. So I realized the value of really recognizing them, and they felt so, so, so special. And it was really awesome and amazing. I love that. So at their party, of course, that was really great. And then, of course, I was booking parties from parties, and it was really amazing, and just continued this whole last year. And then, of course, what happens in the fall, I was booking parties for the spring, and so that was really fantastic. And then those spring parties, I continued to book parties through summer. Some of these ladies also rebooked. It was great. And then, of course, I continued to build and strengthen those relationships with them. All right, so that is super important for you guys to know based on what I did for this year's VIP event. So between last year's VIP event and this year's VIP event, I did do a customer appreciation luncheon. And so at that luncheon, I just had my hostesses who had hosted anytime last year in that time frame attend, and then I invited my top customers to that luncheon. And then at that luncheon, we just played some fun little games, and it was a great time, but it was just another way for me to connect with them personally during the season. So what has happened as a result is that I really have formed some very, very strong relationships with these women. They're my friends, and I know that they're going to be very loyal to me as their 31 consultant, which I'm super excited about. Okay, so this year's VIP event, I decided that I was going to do some things very similar to last year because it worked really, really well for me. So why change something when it works? So we did the same thing as far as sending out a save the date card, sending out the invitation, and allowing them to bring a guest. The difference was because I had women who were founding VIPs, who were the ones that booked parties last year, the number of VIPs that I included this year grew because some of those founding VIPs were also my top customers and hostesses from this year. However, because I had booked so many other parties last year, I had some new people in the pot. So I included all of my founding VIPs because that was my promise from last year, and then I went ahead and pulled some of my other top hostesses and customers. So my invitation list this year was bigger than it was last year. I did not have 100% participation. Too bad for them at this year's event, but we had a great turnout. So we ended up having, there were 20 VIPs, and then they brought their guests, most of them. So we had about 37, 38 women who were at the VIP event last night. Last night's event I did do because I knew that it was going to be a larger crowd. I did do it at a local restaurant. This is a restaurant that I have a good relationship with, and I've done some events there in the past. So they were able to work a deal with us as far as like the banquet order, and I got the room for free, and they worked out a great price for me to be able to serve appetizers and desserts to my guests. So what I would have spent going to the grocery store and preparing snacks, I was able to just put that into my budget for what the restaurant was able to do, and I didn't have to worry about, my friends helping me to serve food. I was able to have the wait staff at the restaurant take care of everything, and it was really nice. They, of course, did all the setup, all the cleanup, so that was really amazing. So, of course, the save the date card and the invitation, very similar, same kind of thing. It's all about them being honored and celebrated. And because last year's event was such a huge success for me, a lot of these women have been talking it up in my closed group, and they've been talking to their friends. So they were really excited leading up to the event. And so a lot of them, that buzz has kind of been happening for the last month and a half, 2 months, because they knew that we were coming up on this big event. So that was really fun. And of course, because they felt so celebrated, they were the ones talking about it. It's just like we get so excited about national conference that we start that buzz sometimes even before the home office does, because we're so excited about the event. The same thing happened with the VIP event. So last night, at the VIP event, again, I did the same thing where I had a backdrop. We got those big giant letters that some of you guys might have seen that said VIP that we just spray painted and put glitter on them for them to use as props for their pictures. And of course, we encouraged them all to take a picture with their friend that they brought. Super fun. This year's theme, I did a little bit different. This year, I did my favorite things theme. And so everything that I did for them this year had something to also do with something from my favorite things. And part of the reason that I chose to do that this year was because I just celebrated my 7-year anniversary with 31, and I have a lot of amazing things happening in my personal life and in my business life, and I really felt like this was something that I wanted to do. Again, you guys have to totally pick something that works for you and your budget. So for me, what I did this year is I actually shared my favorite thing, which is a thing, whatever it is, a lip gloss, a giant paper clip. I know this seems cheesy, but I love it. I use it. I'll show you. On my planner. I know I'm kind of cheesy like that. See my big giant paper clip here? I know it's silly, but I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So it doesn't have to be expensive. I love pens. I give them a pen. My favorite candy is hot tamales, so I gave them boxes of hot tamales. And so what I did was I would give them my favorite thing and then a 31 product. Again, purchased the same way, either through an outlet sale or a customer special that maybe I had gotten an extra one of, or a product from Kit or whatever. So you guys decide how you want to do that. Same thing. We had appetizers, they had cocktails, I introduced my customers, and of course we all had a picture made together, and then I talked about the favorite thing that they were going to receive and the product that they were going to receive, and then recognized my top customer, gave her my favorite flowers, and then the same thing for the hostesses. This year, my hostesses and my customers received different things. Last year, everybody got the same. Again, totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. So they were super excited. We took a little break for dessert. And then after that, we came back together as a group. And then during this portion, I actually did 2 things that I did do differently than last year. So one of the things that I did differently was that we held a... Sorry, I'm having a little bit of difficulty here with my computer. Okay, so one of the things that we did differently this year than we did last year was that we actually had an Instagram contest this year. So I had some other products that I wanted to raffle off. And so I, instead of doing a traditional raffle with tickets, we did an Instagram/Facebook raffle. And so what we did is when they checked in, we let them know that there was a certain hashtag. If they put in Courtney's VIP 2013 and they took pictures and they put that on Instagram or Facebook, then we randomly pulled up everything that had that hashtag, and we went in and we picked winners to earn a raffle. So it was a great way for me to get some extra social media exposure, for people to say, hey, where are you? What's this awesome event that you're at? And how did you get invited to that? So that was just a great way to continue to market. And the customers and hostesses and the guests, they loved it. They were taking all kinds of pictures and having so much fun. So it gave them something to do, and they just thought it was great. When they checked in this year, instead of getting sashes like we did last year, one of the things I love so much about 31 is all the recognition that they give us. So we actually created a tag for them very similar to what we receive at National Conference. I bought 31 lanyards. We made a name tag, and then out of cardstock, on different color cardstock, we actually made ribbon. So if they were a founding VIP, they had that ribbon. If they were a hostess or a customer this year, they had that. If they were a very important guest, they had that ribbon. If they were a VIP, they had that ribbon. If they were one of last year's either top customer or top hostess, they got a ribbon. And then this year, when I introduced the top customer and top hostess, they received the top ribbon for that as I presented it to the group. So they loved having that name tag. It was super, super, super fun, and they loved it. Okay, so that was a little bit different. So, and the Instagram was a little bit different. And then the other thing that I had done this year is I actually did set up new fall products this year on the side of the room. And in the back of the room, I went ahead and put the fall hostess exclusives on the table with the booking calendar. So I didn't feel like I had to do as much as far as booking and making a big announcement about booking this year as I did last year, because they all kind of knew that that's what was going to be going on, and it was exactly as I anticipated. They had gone back to that table and were booking parties. I didn't even have to ask. They were already putting their sticky notes on the calendar. Last night I booked 12 parties at my event last night, for those of you guys who are wanting to know. So I thought that was a huge success. So those 12 parties are booked for October and November. And then, of course, from those parties, I'll be continuing to book parties. So we reduced that time frame. We had them booking their shows, and then we'll continue to book past that. So it was really great. And then the fall product, I had that set up just so it gave them some other things to do. We had a bigger space this year. And so I thought it'll give them something to kind of look at, and they did. They loved that. And then, because it's our 10-year anniversary with 31, I went ahead and took some products that I had from way, way, way back when in my 31 career. And so I put those products up, and they had a little, try to put these in order from oldest to newest products. And so whoever got the most got a little prize. So just something fun for them to do while they were waiting for the event to start. And so that's what they did at the beginning. They each, of course, did also receive a bag this year that had a catalog and my business card in it. And everybody got hot tamales and tons of confetti, because I love confetti. And so they all had that. And so the guests this year actually didn't receive anything like they did last year. But in their bag, they also did have those VIP cards for this coming year. So they were super excited about that. And again, the event was 2 hours in and out. Very, very little cleanup for me. So we were able to be out the door right away. And again, another huge success as far as connecting, making those relationships, strengthening those relationships, and also booking parties for fall. So I was super, super excited about that. And I can't wait to have my next event next year, because I know that it's going to continue to be awesome. My customers and hostesses are very appreciative. They're very grateful. They're very sweet. They're incredible women. And I know that none of them take any of this for granted. They truly, I think, I'm sure I enjoy the event more than they do, but they're just amazing women. And they have continued to bless me, and I know that I wouldn't be in business if I didn't have them. And so I'm so grateful and thankful for them. And I really, truly, I love doing this event. It's one of my most favorite times of the year. And I hope that you guys will do something for your customers and hostesses, whether it's a VIP event or just a customer appreciation luncheon, or just meet them all for coffee. Anything you can do to strengthen and build that relationship with them, I think, is key. And, there's definitely a lot of business to go around, so no need to try to take somebody else's customer or hostess. Just continue to build and strengthen those relationships with those that you have. If you have a VIP event and there's only 5 people there, that's fantastic. Celebrate the 5. If you have 3, celebrate the 3. It's not about the number of people. It's not about what you're giving. It's about the thought. It's about taking the time out of your very busy schedule to celebrate these women and their very busy schedules and honoring them. And I promise you that it will come back to you tenfold. So I hope that answered some of your questions about the VIP event. I think you guys are going to love doing it. You can see pictures on Facebook if we're Facebook friends. You can see the pictures from my event last night, and you probably can even find my album from last year, so you can see that too. But just super, super, super fun. And again, do what feels right for you. And of course, feel free to reach back out to me if you guys have any more questions about things. I'll do the best I can to respond to your individual questions if you have them. But thanks for watching, and happy VIPing to you. Bye.